Hello, welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee. In this video, I want to talk to you about some benefits of consciousness work. In a previous video, I am sure I've mentioned benefits of doing consciousness work, and this came up as I'm also working on a new course, an email drip course. And I came across a little saying. This is a quote from Peter Rawlinson, teacher, mentor, business partner, founder of Consciousness and Skill Worldwide. It was in the emails, and I found this little piece because I personally struggle a lot with trying to communicate what consciousness work is all about and or why should anybody do it. Because personally, or there's no, in the work itself, there's no reason for anybody to do it because it's just kind of the nature of the work itself. If you look into what reasons actually are, reasons are something that you make up. So it's like, what is the reason? Well, make up a reason to do it, you see? And the work kind of doesn't lend itself really well to reasons, or it's not very reasonable. This is just my take on it. And it's hard to describe because there's no general knowledge of consciousness work. Consciousness work is usually buried into some sort of spiritual, dogmatic belief system or ritual type thinking, you see? And what we do not do is belief systems. And so what do I tell you about this? I don't know. But the quote reads like this. It says, and this is a guy who's written to Peter, and then Peter's responded, and he's worried about, what happens if I get enlightened? Or what happens if I make a breakthrough in consciousness? Essentially, am I still going to like the same things? Which sometimes people have that concern, and okay. And one sentence in there, as Peter is responding, is the more notable shift, like if you become enlightened or if you have an awakening. Sometimes people use the word awakening, or enlightenment or become directly conscious. It really depends. You have a caveat here. You have to be very careful what I really mean when I say these things, because you might think I'm saying something that I'm not. Like if I say I had a spiritual awakening, you might think of something that you read somewhere in a book that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. You don't know. You have to ask me. That's called getting clear. And so this guy's got this concern, and then here's Peter. The more notable shift is becoming free of burdens and limitations, assumptions and beliefs, and so various forms of struggle and suffering. And I like that because it really seems to, in one line, which I've never seen before, as far as I can tell right now, there's more to the story than just this, but that sort of sums it up in a nutshell, like the primary benefit of doing consciousness work, like the number one thing. The more notable shift from where you are now to where you could be, as a possibility, not making any guarantees. The more notable shift is becoming free of burden and limitations, assumption and beliefs, and so various forms of struggle and suffering. Freedom. Freedom. Real freedom from stuff you don't even know you're doing. Because consciousness work demands that you discover what is going on. And it just so happens that what is going on for humans, in large measure, according to where I'm at now, is struggle and pain and suffering and needless mental activity and clinging to certain forms of self-identity and image that are disempowering, unhealthy, not happy. Need I go on? Negative, totally dominated by mind, totally dominated by stuff that is just useless. That's the norm. And consciousness work demands that you discover what that all is. What is going on for you as a human being, and more. Like, what is reality? What is the nature? Like, what is my nature? What is your nature? What's the nature of existence itself? What's the nature of relationship? What's the nature of suffering? See, all these things. And so when people embark on consciousness work, they ask me, well, what is it? Or why should I care? I think that sentence sums it up pretty well. Otherwise, there is no reason to care, and it doesn't ultimately matter whether you do consciousness work or not, because, as Peter would mention, billions of people survive just fine until they die. And so fuck, who cares? And on the flip side, if that sentence resonates with you, then this work may be for you. And because that, as far as I can tell, that's why most people come here. I don't know for sure. Again, I didn't log everything super precisely, but I've talked to many people over the years and now decades of doing this work. Decades, a couple decades. It just sounds more authoritative or whatever. They want to fix themselves or discover something new. This is what we do here. Yeah? So there you go. Primary benefit to doing consciousness work. I think that sentence sums it up pretty well. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think. That's an invitation for the algorithm, whatever. And yeah, take care. The other side of that, so now side note, for those of you who want to do consciousness work and are really interested in it, what I just said, there's a trap there that I want to alert you of the trap so that you can avoid it. I'm basically saying, hey, there's a thing that's going to mess you up if you go down that road. Don't take my word for it, though, but do take my word for it. Check it out. And the trap is this. You will then do consciousness work to get free. Don't do that. That sentence, the freedom, what I'm calling freedom, that's a byproduct. That's what happens when you do consciousness work. If you do a bunch of it, you will get free. Don't worry about that part. You will discover things, and those things that you discover are likely going to be freeing things. You will stop struggling in certain areas because you'll realize the nature of the struggle. And that's for you to discover. See, it's like all about discovery. You'll realize what the things are that have you suffering. And then you might go, those of you who have some spiritual background or whatever, or some other background, you go, oh yes, the self is the source of the suffering, and you've heard it all before. I'm not talking about what you heard about. Do you still suffer? Do you still have that pain? Are you still wrapped up in your own emotional stuff? Good, then there's something you're missing. And it's not going to get to you from a book or a video. This would be the perfect time to plug a workshop. Workshops help a lot more than that, I can say that. But ultimately, it's you that has to discover what's going on. And that's what consciousness work is about. It's about you discovering, you getting conscious for yourself. You know, the teacher people, we help. The environment can help, can assist, but nothing will assist you more than you in a certain way. It's on you to do that. So the trap is, do not do the work to get free. Do the work for the work itself. Do the work to discover. Do the work to become conscious, and then you handle the freedom. But if you're doing the work because you heard it's going to get you free, well, that might help you do the work, but make sure you do the work. Don't do the work assuming you know where it's going and that it's going to get you free. Just toss that idea you can set to the side, kind of like if you're hiking up a mountain. You don't need to hold the idea that you're going to the top of the mountain. You just go that way. You see, in this case, you're just going to go towards what's true. And don't worry about being free. And then, like I said, it's a byproduct. Okay, so mind the traps. Honesty is your primary principle. Sometimes take some courage, some openness. Do all those things. Throw yourself into it. If you wanted to get serious, come here, do a workshop. These are very serious things for serious people. Yeah, so if you're into that, come on down. We'll do it. It's hard work. It's not easy. That's what hard work means. Okay. And I'll read that little sentence one more time for you. The more notable shift is becoming free of burdens and limitations, assumptions and beliefs, and so various forms of struggle and suffering. All right. So there you go. A little something for you. I'm Brendan Lee. I have a website, thebrendanlee.com. I'm in support of Consciousness and Skill Worldwide, which is founded by Peter Ralston. If you want to get serious, check the links in the description. Hit me in the comments. Check out my forum. Otherwise, take care. Do good work. Much love. Talk to you next time.